Okay, hey guys, we're back at it. This is Bruce here, Vintage Drum Restoration Garage. This is part 2 of this 40s Radio King shell that we're going to now finish sand and get it ready for staining, and then we'll throw a nice coat of clear coat over it, and haven't decided what kind of stain we want to use on this yet, but when we get there we'll show you what we're going to do. So here we are. I'll let you watch a little bit of this sanding process, and we'll see how this goes. Okay guys, we're back at it. We're going to hit this shell with 220 grit with my palm sander, and I'll show you a little bit of that right now. Get her fastened down real good in our clamp here. And what I'm trying to do with this particular phase of sanding is I'm trying to get those sanding marks out of here. They're going this way from the belt sander, so I think those are pretty much out of there. I'm going to get it one more shot. Okay, I think that's going to do it for that, and I'm going to go around the shell. I'll come back to you and we'll hit it with a different grit. Okay guys, I have sanded the complete shell with 220 grit. I've gone around the whole thing, and now I'm going to continue on with 320 grit, which is next size up, and for me anyway. And just a little reminder, I only use one piece of paper for one panel. There'd be 8 panels on this drum, so I only use it for this portion, then I throw it away because it's just kind of, you're wasting time, and paper's, well, nothing's cheap nowadays, but it's cheaper than my time messing around. I think it does a better job if you just discard the old paper and put on a new piece. So that's the way I do it. You can do it your way if you like, but that's the way I find it's best. We've got all those lines out of that shell. You can see we're starting to find curly maple. It's not the greatest wood grain drum, but I think we can make this into something. I'm thinking maybe we'll stain this with a dark walnut. We'll see. Okay, we've done this whole shell, sanded it real good with 220, and then we went to 320. Sanded around that shell, and it's looking pretty smooth. Now we're going to take and go over it with a 500 grit, and that should be a pretty complete process. There's your 500 grit paper, and that'll be pretty much good enough for whatever finish we decide to use on this. So I'll continue on with this and I'll get back with you. Okay, we've got this shell all sanded. We started out with 220 and then we went to 320 grit and then we went to 500 grit, and it's finally ready for a coat of stain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around it. I'm going to I decided I'm going to use this Colonial Maple by Minwax, just because it's a maple stain and walnut stain goes on walnut. And I just like this finish. So you want to stir it up real good because there's always the colors in the bottom. So I stir it up real good and make sure it's got all its colors that I want in there. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So just take the cloth here, dip it in there a little bit, and start working away around the shell. Try not to get any of this stain on the inside of the drum. Don't want that. Not a bad looking drum shell, actually. Turned out pretty nice. I like this curly maple it's got in it. Some of these dark spots aren't the most pleasant to look at, but like they say, it is what it is. A lot better than it was. And I'll just go around it one more time, evenly. Then what I'll probably do is let this shell dry for a few hours before I come out here and give it its first coat of clear. So, okay, until then, I'll get back to you when I'm ready to do that. Well, good morning to you folks. It's been a day since I painted this shell. I'll spray the nitrocellulose lacquer on it. And you know what? This thing turned out pretty nice. Look at all the flame maple in there, or curly maple. It's got quite a character. You can still see some of the little cracks here. So what we're going to do today is give it a light wet sand and knock down some of this, and try to knock it down just a little bit, get it flat, and get away from some of this grain that we're seeing. And we'll throw another coat on it, and I think it's turning out great. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to. So let me do a quick wet sand on it, and then I'll get back to you. You know what the heck, I'll let you watch me do a little bit of this wet sanding here. I just take a piece of 500 or you can use an even higher 600, 800, whatever you want to use, but 500. I'm just trying to knock down some of this finish on here so I can kind of even it out a little bit. So I just take it like this. I'm really not looking to take much off at all. Because really what I want to do is I just want to eliminate the shine. So we take that and we put that and wipe it again, and I'll just take a clean cloth and have a look at what we've got. So you can still see that shine on there. So I want to get that out of there. Once that's gone, we're done. Because if we go through this and we go into where it's stained, you'll change the complexion of this, and that wouldn't be too good. So that's probably about as far as I want to go with this. That looks great. I'm not seeing any shine. Just do a little bit more here. Go around here in circles a little bit. Now right here is where we had that crack, or one of the cracks that we fixed at the beginning of all this. And I'm trying to fill that crack up with lacquer. There it is, as you can see there. And so I'm trying to fill that up. Anyway, that's what I'm doing, and when I get this done, I'll bring you back. Alright, let's give this thing a couple more coats of clear. First coat, you want to give it just a quick tap coat. Let that dry for a bit. It's probably 90 something degrees here, so this will dry real quick. I'll be able to shoot this in a matter of minutes, but I'll bring you back when I'm ready. Okay, round two. Let that dry a bit. We'll give it a third coat here in a second. Alright, round three. Okay, now that third coat was a very wet coat. What I'm going to do now is we've pretty much got enough lacquer on this shell for today. I'm going to leave it in this hot garage and let this lacquer dry and shrink. Come back tomorrow and be ready for another wet sand. We'll see how it looks then. Okay. Whoops, battery stopped there. Anyway, we're trying to knock that off to where we get everything even without going through the clear coat. And that's how we're going to cover up these. Okay, I changed the battery. Very professional of me, isn't it? Okay, so I don't know what was captured there, but I'm just trying to get this grainy look away from it. So also that's how we're going to flatten out these to where you can't see when you shine it this crack where it was. Hope I'm explaining that right, but it should be able to just have a sheen over it and not be able to see the cracks. So I'm able to go down a little bit lower on this sanding here. So I'm not going to film too much of this, but this sandpaper I've got here is worn down to about 600 now because it's older. I'm not changing it for a reason that I want a worn out piece, so I'm not taking too much off but flattening it down. So that's what I'm doing right now, and then I'm going to shoot a couple more coats on it, and I'll probably come back to you tomorrow unless I come back to you today. All right. Okay, so we've got another 3 coats on there. I sanded it all down again, a little heavier, and got out some of that grainy effect. So we're going to let this set up all day and all night, let it shrink, and we should have a pretty good idea what to do next. I don't want to put too much lacquer on this, because if you put too much on, you stand a chance of it cracking when you put your lugs on and everything. So there's a fine line about how much lacquer to put on. I've had problems in the past trying to put too much on, so that's a little warning for you. All right, check with you in the morning. Well, guys, I'm back at it. This is what it turned out like the next day. It's coming along good, but I can still see that crack along there, along the vent. I'm trying to get those to go away, and I've got these cracks here. I'm trying to fill them in, but it's getting a lot smoother and it's looking pretty nice, but I'm still after a little bit better finish than this. Also, the seam has some small low spots, so I'm going to go ahead and wet sand her again with the same old piece of paper. Now that it's nice and worn out, it won't hurt anything, and we'll give it another shot of lacquer again today. Well, guys, we've got another wet sand done and another 3 coats of lacquer. I mean, it's looking better every time, but until these cracks are filled, I'm not really going to be jumping for joy. So once again, we'll let this dry overnight, come back and look at it once it shrinks, and we'll take it from there. All right. Well, here we are. It's about, geez, I lost count, about day 5 of this refinish. Keep in mind, these are only a half-hour work days on this drum, so you wet sand it, and then you spray a coat or 3 of lacquer on it, and then you wait the rest of the day and night for results, which I can usually tell within 2 hours. Now you look at these cracks here, you could still see them. I'm trying to get these flattened out. Once again, I don't want to put too much lacquer on this, and I may have to just go along with what I have. So I'll give it one more shot of this. I'll sand it down real good once again, and we'll give it another shot of lacquer or 3. Okay, well, look, we've gotten another 3 coats on this thing after a really good wet sand. We'll see what it looks like in the morning, and that'll probably be it for this drum. I think it's going to be just fine the way it is. So I'll get back with you in the morning and give you the final details. Well, good morning, friends. I'm just going to do a last video on this snare drum here. Last hurrah, I guess you'd say. Turned out really nice from what we had, and I'm not going to build it in front of you. You've seen all that before. So that's that on that drum, and I'm going to move on to another one. I've got a bunch of new subscribers, and glad you guys are enjoying the content here. We got Greg and Jonathan and Frank, Uziel, Ruberio, Ken, Mocha, Frank, Timmy, Lee, Mr. Joey. Got Marty and David. Got a lot of you guys out there, and so glad you guys are tuning in and enjoying the content. So we're going to get started on a new project here. I am asking for you guys for your advice on something. I've got this early 30s Slingerland artist model. This is pre-Radio King drum, and I was thinking about, I sanded it down in one spot, just lightly. I just went over it real lightly, and I was thinking maybe putting a clear coat over this and doing a rat rod sort of a thing. Just thought I'd get you guys' opinion on that. And I mean, I could redo it white too. This is the original white finish, but I always like wood grain finishes. They're kind of timeless. So give me an idea what you think of, just we'll take a little poll here and see what you guys think of doing a rat rod on this drum, or just taking it down to the wood and doing another wood grain finish. It's a beautiful drum, quite rare drum too, so just give me an idea, and then we'll get right on this. So glad you guys are enjoying this content, and we'll just keep moving forward and doing some more drums. So until then, take care.